If we did it for once we came, but repeated deleting the shame. Horrible act, memories repeat and repeat again. If I could have known, you would have known what you would have done.
It's a Nomadic community garden. It's a space about using the garden environment to try and bring people from different cultures, from different backgrounds into the same place.
What we do, we just do it naturally anyway, because this is our community, this is our what do you call it, companions. It's like a proper community space.
You have to kind of embrace as much creativity that comes into the place as possible, because you want it to be as welcoming for everybody as possible. You just make sure that people aren't bad people. And if they are, you try and help them to be good people.
Quite a lot of these spaces in London survive basically because of something called lend-lease schemes. Land in London is very expensive, so a lot of the time a property developer will just buy up the land, and almost as an insurance policy against it getting deteriorated, and also to try and get the local community on side, they often fund or allow things like this to happen. That means that they're basically temporary short-term spaces.
This place is 100% it's going to get developed. This is the whole point of being a nomadic garden. Everything can be moved.
I get the idea that the developer is using a scheme like this to help gentrify an area so that it becomes more of a profitable investment in the long term. So a similar thing happened in Deptford and in Bristol at a place called Hamilton House, where they basically funded a whole bunch of artist studios for cheap rent in a big old building that they were planning to knock down and turn into flats. All these artists move in, it became a sort of bustling hub of artistry and creativity, and that area, because of that presence of all that kind of like artistic activity, it became very cool, became quite desirable to like richer people basically. So that drives the property prices up in the area, and then once they've gone up a certain extent over 10 years or whatever, the developer just knocks the whole thing down and builds a block of flats and cashes in on the investment. So what happens to that community that was created there? Essentially they've been used to gentrify an area.
So in terms of developing, and the development here is a very nice development. It's a good architect, it's very well considered, you know, and it's got elements for the community and what have you. It's a very nice project. I would like to be involved with it in some way, you know, because they've been very good to us, you know. These landlords here, you think what this is worth, you know. You know, we get regular support from the Arts Council, but for 4 years now we've had support from London Newcastle. I mean, where are you going to find this? How would we do it without them, really, you know?
The location of a place is really important. You know, who you can bring into the space, the connections you have with the local community, all of that. If you get upended and put in a different space, you have to start again. I mean, that's essentially what this group here has done several times, though.
You know, we're for real, isn't it? We are for real, so whatever we come out with is good, and people can look at it and even study it and do a similar thing. Because that's how it's done. We're proper, you know. We don't muck about.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if these things could be allowed to flourish and grow into their own sort of authentic culture, which isn't constantly at the risk of being turfed out by private interests. But I mean, we're in the biggest property market in Europe, possibly the world.